This is the Content Marketing Podcast, episode number 31, Growing Your Content Marketing Consulting Business. Hello and welcome to the Content Marketing Podcast. This is the show where we help you attract and retain business through the power of quality content. I'm your host, Rachel Parker of Resonance Content Marketing, and today is August 8th, 2013. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for episode 31 of the Content Marketing Podcast. Just a reminder, we are live on iTunes and on Stitcher, so if you're listening to this episode on the blog, you can click on over and subscribe, and you'll get new episodes automatically delivered to your computer or your smartphone or your listening device of choice. And if you use another app for your podcast listening pleasure, we also have an RSS feed, and I will provide that link in the blog post. First of all, I want to send a thank you and a shout out to our friends at Radix Communications. This week they published a blog post called 5 Marketing Podcasts Worth Listening to Right Now, and they were kind enough to include the Content Marketing Podcast on that list. So many thanks to you over at Radix. And by the way, they have their own wonderful podcast called the Radix Copycast. And great podcast. They just published an episode on visual storytelling. So if you are looking for some new and exciting podcast content to take in, look up Radix on iTunes, RADIX, and subscribe. They do some really good stuff. And thank you again for mentioning the Content Marketing Podcast on your list. By the way, I apologize for the squeaky toy noises in the background. Ironically, the one thing that keeps the dogs quiet is one thing that makes noise on its own, so we have to pick our battles here. Last week, we had a very special guest here on the Content Marketing Podcast. We talked to Jay Baer. He is a content marketing thought leader, a New York Times best-selling author, and also a keynote speaker at the upcoming Content Marketing World Summit. And he's got a new book out called Utility, that's Y-O-U, Tility, and he stopped by to talk about it. So if you happen to miss that episode, I highly recommend it. Feel free to click on over to iTunes or Stitcher or check out the RSS feed to get all caught up. So that brings me to today's topic. Today's show goes out to my fellow content marketing consultants and owners of agencies that specialize in content marketing. And we are going to talk about strategies for growing your consulting business. Okay, is it really August already? I am just in awe of how quickly 2013 is going by. Now, I have to admit, I'm always a little bit happy to see August roll onto the calendar. For one thing, as you know, I am broadcasting to you from Houston, Texas, where the summers are long and brutal. And yes, August is one of the worst, is probably the worst of the heat, but we know the end is in sight. So it's kind of the home stretch before things start cooling down, usually around mid-September. So when we look at August 1st, we say, okay, about 6 more weeks, we can hang in there. But the main reason I am happy it's August is... Yes, the NFL preseason is upon us, and I am so excited. The long, dark tea time of American football is over. It's time to pull out my signed Andre Johnson jersey, get my chili recipe out, and get ready for some football. So I'm seriously pumped about that. But today we are not here to talk about football. We are here to talk about content marketing. And today's podcast is a response to a request from one of our listeners. I recently received a lovely message from a listener, and I'm just going to call him Mr. B. And he was very kind in talking about how he was encouraged by listening to my story of resonance, so how I came to do what I do. And he shared that he is a fellow consultant. He recently transitioned to the content marketing sphere. And he shared with me that he's having some challenges getting prospects in the door and really keeping that funnel full and generating business. So he asked me for some advice on prospecting and attracting new clients, especially among small and medium-sized businesses, which is the target market that he's focused on. So this episode goes out to my brethren and sestrin? Yeah, sure. Why not? Who happen to be content marketing consultants who are helping helping clients with their content marketing. So, first of all, Mr. B, I really appreciate your confidence in me because I am not an expert by any means on this topic of prospecting and business development strategies. If I were, I would have 25 employees and an office in the Galleria, but I don't have that yet. One of my favorite words, yet. But what I can do is share some strategies and tactics that have worked for me. And, oh, there's Squeaky again. And also some advice that I've received that I've not yet implemented, but that is on my list. So I did some thinking and came up with 10 tips for growing your content marketing consulting business. And at the end of the list, I will share with you my super secret ninja trick for making an impression and being memorable. So make sure you stick around for that. So before I get to the list, I want to share a general note about content marketing and small businesses. Content marketing is a tough sell for the small business market. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it's a tough sell because, number one, not all small business owners are up on the latest developments in marketing. So if you're dealing with a corporate clientele, you might be dealing with a VP of marketing or a marketing manager or director, and these folks are expected to keep up with the latest and greatest trends and developments. And they also have budgets and time to go to conferences, to go to seminars, to take courses, what have you. That's part of their job description. Not so much on the small business side. You know, everybody's kind of working together just to keep the ship afloat. So there's not that time and definitely not the budget for attending those seminars and keeping up with what's going on. So as a result, we need to do a lot of educating when we deal with small businesses. Also, SMBs tend to see, I find at least, they tend to see content marketing as a nice to have. You know, oh, it would be nice to have a blog. It would be nice to have an e-newsletter. And someday when I have oodles of time and oodles of money, I am totally going to do that. And it's not really seen in a widespread sense as an essential. You know, they're not seeing the statistics that show how little people trust advertising anymore. And so again, it all comes back to education. We need to show them it's not just a nice to have. It's something that is going to be vital to the future of your business. And the third challenge that we face with small businesses is that content marketing not only requires an investment, but an investment over time. You know, it's not like hiring a web designer to come and renovate your website and then they do it in 6 weeks and then they're done. It's an ongoing thing. To make content marketing work, you need to be there day after day, week after week, month after month, and it doesn't always pay off right away. It very rarely pays off right away. So these are all challenges. Again, I'm not saying it can't be done, but we need to be aware of the challenges when we work with a small business market. And yes, I've got a pug on my lap. So with that said, I'm going to share my 10 tips for growing your content marketing business. Tip number one, and I know I don't have to say this, but I feel the need to say it anyway. We have got to walk the content marketing walk. We have got to be out there blogging, sending e-newsletters, creating online videos, maybe podcasting. We've got to be out there sharing content because we need to drink the Kool-Aid. We need to show people that we are committed to the product that we're selling. And, I compare it to, you wouldn't go to a dentist with bad teeth. Even if he said, oh, I'm way too busy taking care of my clients to take care of my teeth. Look at this guy over here. He's got a great smile. No, if I went to a dentist and the person had bad teeth, I would walk right out of the office because they're obviously not committed. And we need to have the same attitude towards content marketing. I know I don't need to say that. I know you guys are already doing it. But, please humor me here for a second, and we need to walk that content marketing walk. Number 2 is network, but network strategically. I firmly believe that networking is the number one potential time and money waster among businesses, especially among consulting, because there are so many groups out there that you can get involved with, and you can I know in Houston, goodness gracious, you could network all day, every day and not hit the same group twice. There are so many organizations out there, but you really need to be strategic. And there are a lot of groups that are full of very nice people that you enjoy hanging out with, but that aren't going to produce anything for your business. So really designate, look at who you're targeting. Hello, Sophie. Look at who it is you're targeting, what groups they go to, and just be very wary of groups that are, I took some sales coaching a couple of years ago, and the guy said, look, a lot of these groups are just salespeople trying to sell to each other, and it doesn't turn up anything for anybody because everybody's got their own agenda. So really, really hone in on what groups your target prospects are going to be hanging out with and really target those. And one thing that I found also in networking is that you get what you pay for. So the free groups, when I attend open chambers of commerce, I tend to meet a lot of multi-level marketing people. God bless them on their journey. I respect what they're doing, but they're just not, they're not going to help me grow my business necessarily. So network, but network strategically. Number 3, and this ties in with your networking, really, really refine. Get a laser focus on how you talk about yourself whether you're at a networking event and you're getting up and giving your 30-second spiel, or if you have a longer format to tell people about what you do. Really hone in on what problems you solve, because like I said before, a lot of people see content marketing as a nice to have, and it really is, as we know, it's much more than that. So really spend some time and effort thinking about how you talk about yourself. And I'm going to recommend a wonderful book to you. It's called Small Message, Big Impact, The Elevator Speech Effect. It's by, the author's name is Terry Sjodin, Sjodin. And it's a wonderful book that gives some concrete advice on how you talk about yourself, whether you have 30 seconds or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30. And really honing in on why people need your product or service, why you, and what you can deliver, what problems you solve. And with respect to that messaging, a lot of groups, if we get up and start talking about content marketing, their eyes are going to glaze over because, it sounds like just another buzzword. So when I produce, when I go out and talk to groups, I might not even use the word content marketing in the title because, what is that? If I don't know what it is, I'm not going to spend my time finding out about it. So really, devote some time and effort to that message and practice. Practice your elevator pitch, practice your short, medium, and long form pitch, and just make sure and get feedback on it. Ask people what they think about it, and make sure you've got just a laser focus on that message. Number 4, referrals. Consultants live and breathe word of mouth. So, on a regular basis, there's a squeaky toy again. On a regular basis, just get in front of colleagues, clients that have hired you in the past, clients that you work with currently, and just say, hey, I'm looking to grow my business over the next quarter. If you know of anyone who might be interested in my services, please do let me know. I would really appreciate an introduction. And, when I first got into business, I was really leery about asking for referrals, but you really have to, because many people are happy to refer you, but they just don't think about it. When they're in front of a perfect prospect for you, it doesn't occur to them to say, hey, you might want to give John a call. He's really great at this, exactly the problem that you're talking about. So we need to remind them. We need to remind them that we grow our business on a referral basis primarily. And, more often than not, people are happy to, if they can't send you a referral right away, to definitely keep you in mind when they are in front of someone who needs your services. So make those referrals a part of your regular marketing strategy. Ask for them on a regular basis. Number 5, look at partnering with complementary businesses. So these are businesses that would not necessarily hire you for their own content marketing. They might, but they might not. But they could refer their clients to you. And I'm talking about, I've had a lot of good results partnering with web designers, with graphic designers, SEO providers. This is a great community to get plugged into, because if you think about it, with the Google Penguin and Panda updates, a lot of those old SEO tricks are not working anymore. Buying backlinks is kind of the kiss of death these days. And every SEO expert that I know of, when they're asked, how can I boost my results in search, their number one answer is produce quality content on a regular basis. Well, a lot of their clients say, okay, I understand, I respect, I trust you on this, but I don't have the time to do it myself. I don't have the desire to do it myself. I hate writing. I hate, thinking about all this. That would be a perfect opportunity for them to either refer that client to you, or you might want to look into like a back office partnership so that you're selling your services through that SEO provider. So that's a great community to get plugged into. Also, talk to some general marketing consultants. There are a lot of marketing generalists out there, especially in the small business field. They might have one person who they bring in to manage their brochures, maybe see about buying some media for them. They're kind of, they've got a wide variety of skills, and they're kind of jacks of all trades. But if they find someone, or if they have a client who needs your specific services, who needs help with content, they would be a great source of referrals for getting those clients over to you. Sorry about that. So look at partnering with those complementary businesses. Number 6, and this is specifically for Mr. B, because this is going to help you with those small business clients. Consider putting together some pricing packages. And like I said, this is especially helpful for small businesses, because a lot of small businesses think, when they see the word consultant, they think big bucks. They think this is somebody who's going to charge me $500 an hour, and it's just going to be way out of my price range, so I'm not even going to look into it. And if you produce maybe a simple sheet with some packages lined up, and it might be, here's what I charge for a strategy, and here's a monthly package number 1 with so many blog posts, so many e-newsletters, so many social media updates. And here's package number 2 with maybe 2 blog posts a month and 2 e-newsletters and a few more social media updates. And that just kind of, it doesn't necessarily pigeonhole you into those packages, but it lets the small business owner know that your services are affordable. It is something that is doable, and it might kind of alleviate those fears and those trepidations about bringing in a consultant to help out with their content. So think about putting together some pricing. I don't know if you want to put it on your website or not. That's one of the great debates in online marketing. Do you put prices up or not? I choose not to, but you might want to experiment. Try putting them up and see what happens to your business. So number 7, line up some speaking engagements. And really, I see speaking as just another version of content marketing. I mean, think about it. You're getting in front of people, you're sharing your expertise, you're sharing something that is of value. It's not a glorified sales presentation. You're sharing something of value they can really use. And whether you do that through your blog post or in person through a speaking gig is pretty much the same thing. Now, when I recommend this to a lot of people, they say, oh, I'm just not comfortable getting up in front of a group and speaking. And I gotta say, this is a tough love moment here. I gotta say, with all due love and respect, get over it. Whatever you need to do to get past that fear of getting up in front of people and speaking, do it. Whether that's maybe invite your best friends over for a lunch at your house one day and deliver your presentation in a low-pressure environment, or if you want to see about hiring a coach. I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with Karen McCullough, who is here in Houston. She is a dynamite speaker. She's been speaking for 12 years, and she's generous enough to share her expertise, and I've gained a lot from working with her. And if you can afford it, hire a coach. If you can't afford a coach, maybe offer a barter. Maybe go to a coach and say, hey, I'll help you, set up your e-newsletter if you will give me a couple of sessions and a couple of pointers. There are all kinds of things that you can do. And really, there are few things as powerful as getting up in front of a group in person and delivering a value-packed presentation that really delivers something of value, and it shows your expertise. So what I recommend is that you treat your speaking business like a business. And whether you want to launch email campaigns saying, hey, I've got this speech, I would love to talk to you about delivering to your organization. I've created a landing page on my website with a video of me talking about the speech so that people can get a sense of me and my style. I talk about groups I've spoken with before. Really treat it as a business, because I have not served in a position where I've had to book speakers, but I've served on boards and worked with people who have been in that position, and their number one concern is, well, is this person professional? Do they take their speaking seriously? Are they going to show up on time? Are they going to show us something of value and not just a glorified sales pitch? Concerns like this, and if you are professional in your approach to finding those speaking engagements, then you can again alleviate a lot of those fears and show the events coordinator or whoever is booking speakers that you are a professional and that you do take this seriously, and that they will not regret hiring you to speak for their group. So definitely, speaking engagements are an absolute goldmine for signing up clients. And I actually got my biggest client through a speaking engagement. I spoke at the HIMA, Houston Interactive Marketing Association, a few years ago, and somebody came up to me who was the web strategist for a large hospital system here in Houston, and they've been my faithful clients for, going on maybe 3-4 years now. So definitely look into those speaking gigs. Number 8, LinkedIn is your friend. And I say this for any B2B business. A lot of companies, when they look to bring someone in to help them with something, looking for a provider, they will go to LinkedIn before they will go to Google. And they will say, is there anyone in my circles who I can talk to about this? And yes, I have gotten clients through LinkedIn, both people I was connected with and people I wasn't connected with, people who found me by doing a search for content marketing. So spend some time on LinkedIn. Make sure that your profile is up to snuff. Make sure you've got a great profile picture. Invest some dollars in that if you need to. It is worth your while. Make sure that headline that comes up next to your profile picture is spot on. Make sure it's not just saying owner and the name of your business, but give an idea of what you provide, what value you deliver. If you look at my LinkedIn profile, it says, content marketing expert and speaker, and then I got a dash, and I mention, social media, e-newsletters, blogs, things like that. Think about when people look for you, the kind of thing they're looking for, and make sure you've got those words plugged into your headline. Also, if you haven't been to LinkedIn recently, go there and check it out. The LinkedIn of today is a far cry from what it was just a couple of years ago. They've really gotten interactive. They've added a lot of new features. They've removed some features as well, which has frustrated a lot of people, but I think they're really zeroing in on what they want to provide to people. And for example, on your LinkedIn profile, you can now link to, you can embed videos, you can embed SlideShare presentations, you can link to documents. So if there's a PDF, ebook or something that you want to tout, you can link to that from your LinkedIn page. Just tons and tons of capabilities. And one more that I want to mention is the skills capability. So you can list the skills that you are competent in, and there's kind of a science behind it because you want to list the skills that people are looking for. And I actually did a quick video tutorial a few weeks ago about that functionality and how you can research those different skills and find the ones that you need to list to attract your target audience. And if I remember, I will put that link in the blog post. If I don't remember, please bust me on it and let me know, and I will provide the link to that video. So spend some time on LinkedIn, get involved in groups, get involved in discussions, congratulate people when you see they've got a promotion, say happy birthday. Be very, very active on LinkedIn. It should be a daily visit for you because it is the number one online networking tool for any B2B company. Highly recommended. Okay, where are we? Number 9, look at contacting marketing agencies. So maybe, not necessarily a consultant, but an actual agency that specializes in, advertising or web marketing, things like that. Because they have probably got a few clients asking for content marketing services, but maybe they don't necessarily want to staff up and offer that as part of their services. So maybe you could arrange a back office arrangements so that you could offer your services through them, and that when they have a client who says, oh, I really want to start blogging, or they're recommending that a client start blogging, and the client says, yes, I want to do this, I don't want to do it themselves, they could actually offer your services as kind of a white label or a back office arrangement. So that's a great way to get in front of people. Or they could straight up refer people to you. If they don't want to mess with it, they can just say, hey, go call Lisa. She's got a great, she's great at this, is what she does, and she'll be happy to talk to you. So contact marketing agencies. And number 10, this kind of encompasses everything we've talked about so far. Whatever it is you need, whether you need someone to make an introduction for you, if you're looking for a speaking gig, you have got to ask for it. You have got to just, put your big girl panties on and ask the person who can help you. No one is going to drop things into your lap. And I've learned that. I've always kind of learned that intellectually, but I really have learned it from a ground perspective recently. And people are much nicer than I expect them to be. But, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone. My head trash gets in the way. I say, no, they're going to think it's stupid. I'm going to look needy. They're going to laugh at me, blah, blah, blah. So I wind up not asking for the thing that I need. And I want to share with you an audio clip. This is a clip from an interview that Steve Jobs did back in 1994. And I'm not sure what the question was behind this answer, but he talks about the power of asking. So let's listen to what Steve Jobs has to say on this.
Now, I've actually always found something to be very true, which is most people don't get those experiences because they never ask. I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help. I always call them up. I called up, this will date me, but I called up Bill Hewlett when I was 12 years old. And he lived in Palo Alto. His number was still in the phone book. And he answered the phone himself. He said, yes? He said, hi, I'm Steve Jobs. I'm 12 years old. I'm a student in high school, and I want to build a frequency counter. And I was wondering if you had any spare parts I could have. And he laughed, and he gave me the spare parts to build this frequency counter, and he gave me a job that summer in Hewlett-Packard, working on the assembly line, putting nuts and bolts together on frequency counters. He got me a job in the place that built them. And I was in heaven. And I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. And when people ask me, I try to be as responsive, to pay that debt of gratitude back. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far.
So there you have it. Steve Jobs has spoken, and who knows better than Steve how to get the good stuff. And one more thing on this point, I want to share a personal story. If you listened to the podcast last week, you heard my interview with Jay Baer about his new book, Utility. And I thought about contacting him because I knew he had the new book out, and I knew he probably, wanted to promote it. But, as soon as that thought came into my head trash got in the way. And it's like, oh, he's a big-time best-selling author. I'm a nobody. Why would he give me the time of day? I'm gonna make an ass of myself. I'm gonna look stupid. I'm gonna look needy. Blah blah blah. But I again put my big girl panties on, and I just sent him an email through the Contact Us page on his website. I went to jbear.com, contact us, filled out the form, and said, hey, I would love to interview you on the Content Marketing Podcast. Would you be interested? And within hours, I got an email back saying, yeah, I'd love to be on the show. When do you want to set this up? So, whatever it is you need, you've got to ask for it. And just work through the head trash, tell the voices in your head to shut up, sit down, go do something else, and just do it. And, it's easy for me to say sitting behind my microphone giving advice, but, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. We don't want to ask for things. But, as business owners, we just got to do it. So, okay, enough on asking. So, as promised, I told you I would share my super secret ninja trick for making an impression and being memorable. And here it is. Handwritten note cards. Yes. Last time I ordered business cards, I also ordered some note cards featuring my logo, and I use those things all the time. I use them when I ask for referrals. I send a note to thank my podcast guests. Even if I go to an event and there's a really good speaker that I would want to have as a contact, I might just send them a note saying, hey, I really enjoyed your presentation. You did a great job. And it really does work wonders because nobody's doing it. No, I don't want to say nobody's doing it, but it's very rare that people actually sit down and write a note card. Sit down and think about how many emails you get on a daily basis. I probably get about 200 emails every single day, most of which wind up in the delete folder. But think about the last time you got a handwritten note card that someone wrote out, addressed, and dropped in the mail to you. I could count on one hand the number I've received in the last year. It really makes an impression because it takes time. It takes time to sit down, to write the note, to put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and those things aren't cheap, and put it in the mail. It really shows a certain level of care and professionalism. Now, you might be thinking, Rachel, all well and good for you, but I don't have the budget to order custom note cards. Fear not. Here's a hack for you. Here's what I did before I had my cards. Go to Office Depot and get some plain white note cards. Plain white. Nothing written on them. No thank you. No nothing. And glue your business card to the front and write your message on the inside. And it looks pretty good. I gotta say, it looks pretty good. It looks branded, but it's kind of a neat hack, and you're only out the price of the note cards. Another thing that I do when I really want to, I do this when I ask for referrals, and I'll do this on some other occasions. What I did is I went to Starbucks and I ordered in bulk a bunch of $5 Starbucks gift cards. And you can go to starbucks.com, set up a corporate account, and you can order gift cards in bulk. And so when I write people, for example, when I write a note to ask for a referral, I'll drop this $5 Starbucks card in there, and I will say something like, I'm looking to grow my business, would appreciate you sending any referrals my way. In the meantime, please enjoy some Starbucks on me. And that's just a little extra, it adds a little extra oomph. If you remember our discussion of Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, reciprocity is one of those principles of influence. When someone does something nice for you, like sending a note card or sending a gift card, you're more inclined to want to help that person. So I find that to be incredibly effective. So that is my super secret ninja trick for making an impression and being memorable. Okay, so wrapping up here, those are my top 10 tips for growing your content marketing consulting business, plus a bonus super secret ninja trick. Mr. B, I hope that helps you in your endeavors. Apologies again for the squeaking. And I hope the rest of you got something out of it as well. And just as a final note, back when I worked for Prudential, we had a great sales manager who worked with a lot of the agents. And he, whenever he started training them, he would stand up in front of his training class and he would tell this story. Okay, imagine you are stranded on a desert island and it's up to you. Nobody's coming for you. You've got to fend for yourself. You got to get your own food, and you've got to figure out how to survive. And you have at your disposal a pistol, a rope, a fishing pole, a knife, and a bow and arrow. Which one do you use? And the answer he was looking for is you use all of them. Find the tactics that work for you. It won't be one. It probably won't be two. It'll probably be a smattering of 5 or 6 or 10 tactics that you use to grow your business. So make sure you're using those on a regular basis, and that you're keeping track. Find out what works for you and do more of that. And I want to say, folks, this is not easy. What we do is not easy. And I say that to anyone who is out there on their own in business. If it were easy, corporate America would be a sea of empty cubicles because everybody would be doing what we do. So if you are a content marketing consultant, or if you own a business, get advice wherever you can and get encouragement wherever you can. And by the way, if you do find a silver bullet that sends people lining up at your door, please send it to me because I'm still looking for it myself. Okay, so that's my take on the subject, and now I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your tips for growing your content marketing consulting business, something that works for you, great advice that you've gotten. Send those on to me. Send me an email at rachel@resonancecontent.com, and if I get a few of them, we might do a part 2 of this episode where I get to share your advice for growing your content marketing business. So let's see if we can get that going. Now it's time for our content marketing tip of the week. For today's tip, I want to talk about mobile devices. We usually create our content on our desktop or our laptop machines, and we usually check it out, make sure it looks good there. But keep in mind that it's increasingly likely that content will be consumed on a smartphone or on a tablet or on another mobile device. So it's important that we check our content and to see how it renders on mobile devices, whether that's your e-newsletter, your blog posts, your videos that you're creating. If you're putting them out on YouTube, there's a pretty good chance that they'll be rendered correctly for mobile. But you want to check out your content, make sure it looks good, make sure, for example, any images that come up in your blog post or your e-newsletter, that those are rendering correctly, that they're not appearing life-size on a mobile device, and make sure the text is flowing around it, and make sure that the people who are taking in your content on mobile devices are having a good experience. Now, I wouldn't say you have to check every single blog post or every single e-newsletter, but just do a spot check every once in a while. Make sure it's looking okay and looking good on those mobile devices, and make sure you are continuing to serve your mobile device readers. Okay, campers, that is it for me this week. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. Whether you're a content marketing consultant or are in another line of work, I hope you got something out of it. If you like what you've heard today, please feel free to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or via our RSS feed. And if you really, really like what you've heard, please leave us a quick review wherever it is you found us. I would so appreciate it. For more information about content marketing, you're welcome to visit our blog at resonancecontent.com/blog, where you'll also find links to our pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social networks. If you would like to email me a question to cover in our tip of the week, or maybe to cover in an upcoming podcast like we did today, you can contact me anytime at rachel@resonancecontent.com or through the Contact Us form on the website. Would be happy to hear from you. Also, if you'd like for me to come speak about content marketing, remember those speaking engagements, to your business or your organization, you can find information about my most current talk at contentmarketingspeaker.net. Again, that's .net, not .com, and Content Marketing Speaker, all one word. As always, I'd like to leave you with a quote, and today's quote is a favorite of mine. This is one that I use to encourage myself on a regular basis, and this is from the Bible. It is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 29. It says, "See you a man diligent in his business? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men." And what I love about that quote is it does not say a man with a huge marketing budget, or a man who has a Harvard Business School degree, or a man with an address book full of CEOs. It says a man diligent in his business, and that really encourages me to keep up the good work and be confident that good things will happen. Again, this is Rachel Parker with Resonance Content Marketing, and we will see you again next week. Take care.